but he's in a difficult spot. As you know, the economy is not doing well. And they're under a lot of pressure from the United States, and they don't like that. They don't like being dollarized. And so for Bukele, my concern is that not just that he's a crypto bro who wants to show that he's technologically sophisticated, but also that he's making kind of a one-way bet on his country's currency. That, it's kind of like going into casino and putting your money on red or black. And so I think the hope is that Bitcoin is going to go up like crazy. And as a consequence, his economy is going to do a lot better. But, as we know, the amount of volatility that Bitcoin experiences makes it fundamentally inappropriate as a country's currency. I mean, people that held a large amount of Bitcoin, this should be for wealthy people who have money to potentially bet. And that's why I didn't like when Robinhood, creates a casino environment. So yeah, everyone can trade, but we all know that in that environment, usually it's the poor people that don't know very much, don't have the discretionary income that end up getting screwed. I think people are a little scared. They don't really understand it. It's clear that a lot of people are downloading the app. I know that in El Salvador, Chivo, this government-backed wallet was the most popular download thing. And he said that everyone was going to get $30 US that signed up. And so, why wouldn't you? It's $30 free. But that's very different from saying that this is going to be a successful rollout in terms of the cryptocurrency. When the president of the country says that there's no way he can win, he can lose the democratic election, he either wins or he's arrested or he's killed. Again, that's on its face. It's a lie. It's ludicrous. It's offensive to the people of the great nation of Brazil. It's offensive to the political institutions of this democracy. And as a consequence, Bolsonaro is likely to lose. He's not going to be able to take over the country through extra legal means. He has no more capacity to do that than President Trump did in my own country, despite the events of January 6th. The danger in Brazil is that a January 6th type event could be much more violent. Bolsonaro, unlike Trump, was a military man, and there are lots of specifically military police in some of the states reporting to governors that are loyal to Bolsonaro, who, if there were an extra legal challenge to the elections, I could see them splitting with the military, with the armed forces chain of command, with the military leadership, and deciding that they were actually going to recognize and support Bolsonaro, which of course didn't happen at all in the United States. And in that sort of an environment, a lot of people can get killed. He told everyone to go out and buy rifles. It seems to me Bolsonaro, with a year before the elections, is leading up to a potentially much more fractious and violent breakdown as we head into what will be the most dysfunctional major election of the 2022 season. So yeah, I worry about it, but I want to be very clear that he cannot steal the election. It's a national election at the federal level. It's not state by state, so it's actually harder to do even in the United States. His political party doesn't have a lot of strength. The big question is whether it's Lula or whether Bolsonaro becomes so incompetent and is so unable to function that enough of his supporters peel off and create an opportunity for a third party option in the center. And I think that in the United States, that doesn't really happen, but in Brazil, it could. And I think that's the interesting question for the markets. The elections definitely are much more smooth. But in terms of political and economic stability, Argentina's in a lot of trouble. And because the party of power, the Fernandez government, performed so badly on the primary elections, and also in Buenos Aires as well, where the conservative opposition led by about 5 points. This is a big, big loss for the Peronists. And what that means is that Fernandez is going to lose a lot of power, and Cristina Kirchner will have much more influence. And her view is that he's not been strong enough. He's not been interventionist enough in the economy. So I think that over the coming months, you're going to see much more of an economic crisis in Argentina because she's going to be able to say, we want to intervene heavily in the economy. The IMF talks will become much worse. I think that's a problem.
Mm-hmm.
Long term, of course, it means that they get forced out. But in the short term, this is dangerous for the country.